time is a ticking. We need your nominations. Podcastawards.com in the news and politics category. And thank you so very much. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is a warm Tuesday, July 18th, 2023. I'm Jer Stays, and today's focus is going to be on the free Concert of Colors coming up in Midtown, just around the corner. I have a conversation with Ralph Valdez from the organization. I hope you enjoy it, and then I'll send you out the door with a few things to know around town. Let's get started. Joining me on the line is Ralph Valdez, the Deputy Director for the Concert of Colors, back for its 31st year. Ralph, welcome to Daily Detroit. I'm excited to talk to you about this event.
Oh, thank you. I am too. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, I mean, this has been around since I've been a kid. It's something that my dad loved, my family loved. It's just a cool thing that's happening in the Midtown area of Detroit. And to help the uninitiated, 31 years, how'd this whole thing come together?
Well, first of all, I love to hear that because I feel like it has been around for so long that to have generations enjoy it and appreciate it really means a lot. So thank you for that. It came about in the early 90s by folks who were reacting to the murder of Vincent Chin, who many folks may remember was a Chinese American who was mistaken for Japanese and killed by some guys in a bar who got drunk and just blamed him for the downturn in the auto industry, very stupidly, of course. And the folks that put the Concert of Colors together realized that, we needed to have more bridges built so that people could understand each other's cultures and not build walls and get people to interact with each other's different communities of color. Ismail Ahmed, our co-founder for the Concert of Colors, got together with New Detroit back in the 90s, about 10 years after Vincent Chin's death, to make the first Concert of Colors happen. And it was a very grassroots, community-oriented sort of endeavor. And it grew from there to where we spent time at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater when it was called Chene Park. And we had a lot of support from the city back then. Then we were at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra Hall. And currently, in our 31st year, in the last few years maybe, our home base has been the Detroit Institute of Arts in Midtown.
That's an absolutely great place to visit. I was going through the press materials. Some of this is going to be out on the lawn of the DIA, which I think is so cool.
It is. We are so fortunate to partner with the Detroit Institute of Arts, as I said, for the last few years, and they activate parts of their geographic footprint. And one of them is what they call the North Lawn, and that is at Woodward and Kirby. And we have a large stage there, which could be considered probably one of our main stages. And then they also activate the South Lawn, which is where we have the U of M Detroit Center. They curate a stage that they call the Wolverine stage there. Both stages have music, as the whole festival does, from all over the world and all over the country and all over the city. And the South Lawn stage, the Wolverine stage, does have more of a focus on Detroit area and Southeast Michigan artists.
So this event, it's actually happening across multiple venues and multiple days, right?
Correct. The main weekend is the weekend of the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of July, but it kicks off sort of in a more informal way with the Forum on Community, Culture, and Race that we have every year with the Arab American National Museum, and that's going to start on Wednesday, July 19th. So, yeah, things happen throughout the Midtown area and throughout the city that slowly build until the final full weekend, starting on the 19th, but running through the 23rd.
And looking at the history of this event, how critical is it to you to marry both the musical programming, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and then also some of this more talk and symposium and open table situation where people can learn more about these specific topics?
Oh, it's very important. And this year we're expanding our forums and symposiums, as you said, just the opportunity for folks to interact more and more with the different communities and the different ideas that people bring to the Concert of Colors, so that it's more than just the wonderful music and the food and the dance and the all the wonderful positivity that the Concert of Colors brings, but also a deeper dive into some of the concepts and some of the lectures and interactive opportunities for a give and take with audiences to talk more about different topics that relate to diversity and to the idea of community and culture.
Yeah. What are some of the venues other than the DIA that are participating this year?
We have a very big partnership with the Detroit Historical Museum, which we've had for many years, but this year they've really stepped up and have expanded. So they're having a focus on a lot of Native American and Indigenous artists and music. So that's going to be kicking off on Friday, July 21st. And the Detroit Historical Museum actually will also be activating a couple of stages, indoor and outdoors. Some of the folks that they're going to be presenting include a Native American multi-instrumentalist named Robert Mirabel, who's very well known in the community and in those circles and has a few records out. And he is going to be sort of the headliner performing on the first stage at the Detroit Historical Museum on Friday, July 21st. And that's going to wind up with a big powwow and dance that ends up on stage 2 at the Detroit Historical Museum. So we also have the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History. We have the Scarab Club behind the Detroit Institute of Arts. And we have the Michigan Science Center, all doing different things. The Hellenic Museum of Michigan. They're more located there in the Midtown area, as well as the Detroit Symphony Orchestra Hall, who continue to be major supporters of the Concert of Colors, and they're going to be having an outdoor concert with the National Arab Orchestra. So yeah, there are many, many different venues that we partner with that help make the festival such a success.
So there's so many things that you can do. Are there like additional things to do outside of that, like vendors and food and things like that?
Yes, we have food trucks, some vendors. We have a lot of information tables and just an opportunity for, just people to walk the parameter of the Detroit Institute of Arts and the Midtown area and just engage in all these wonderful different stages and opportunities for experiencing the different cultures that the Concert of Colors brings.
So what are some of the kind of headlining music events? And of course, you can always go to the website and learn more, and I encourage people to go through. But what are some of the headlining, if you will, music acts?
Definitely. So the Concert of Colors website is concertofcolors.com, and there you can find not only the full schedule and lineup, but also examples of some of the music and some of the artists. But what we would consider maybe the headliners would be Julian Marley, who is, of course, one of the sons of Bob Marley. He's going to be performing at the Detroit Film Theater inside of the Detroit Institute of Arts on Saturday, July 22nd at 8:30 p.m. And I'm also personally looking forward to Simone Shaheen, who is a wonderful oud virtuoso. It's an instrument that many folks may have heard of, or if they haven't, it's like a Middle Eastern version of a ancient guitar that has no frets, so the sounds of the strings are very kind of in between notes and has a beautiful, almost human voice quality to it. So he's a virtuoso on that instrument, and he's going to be performing also at the Detroit Film Theater inside of the DIA, preceding Julian Marley. And I'm also looking forward to Ian Finkelstein, who is a Detroit jazz artist who's been getting a lot of attention. He'll be at the Wolverine stage outdoors on Saturday. And also the Don Was All-Star Review, which is something we always look forward to because he's been such an asset to Detroit and to music and to the Concert of Colors for a number of years. And he always finds a way to celebrate something specific about Detroit. And this year it's going to be a spotlight put on Detroit jazz giants. So we all know that Detroit has a wonderful history of different types of music, but jazz is definitely at the forefront of some of the great names in jazz music that they're going to be spotlighting when Don Was takes the stage and helps to close out the Concert of Colors on Sunday, July 23rd at the Detroit Film Theater of the Detroit Institute of Arts.
Well, these are some great names. I mean, and Don Was, if people don't know, just a legend when it comes to music in general and from Detroit and all that. It's just very cool that that's coming together.
Yeah, we are so excited about the people that he brings to the festival and, really represents a lot of Detroit talent. And then not just what's happening here in Detroit at the moment, but as I said, kind of digging deeper into Detroit's history. He has done tributes to the Electrifying Mojo, the very influential radio host from years ago. He has done tributes to Iggy Pop, just a wide variety of things that celebrate Detroit's art and culture and music.
Yeah. And one more thing before I let you go. It seems like you're real excited about working with this and doing this work. What drew you to this event? Because you definitely seem to have a connection to it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do. I started off, as many folks do, as a fan. And I was with WDET at the time, and we were a host organization, a partner, when the festival was at Chang Park, and just got very involved and inspired. And just, once you go to the Concert of Colors once, you see all the good things that happen. It just brings people together of all different walks of life and all ages and all different stripes, and they're all just having a good time. It's just this vibe that's tangible. So that really got me hooked. Then I worked for a while as a curator at the Arab American National Museum and was invited to be the festival coordinator for the Concert of Colors. And that, of course, I took to very quickly and became a big fan of the logistics and the volunteer teams that we have put together. So I've continued from that for about the last maybe 12 years.
That's awesome. And what a great service to the community, because this is a special event. So Metro Detroit's 31st Annual Diversity Festival, the Concert of Colors. Ralph Valdez, thank you so much for your time on Daily Detroit. Listeners, check it out, concertofcolors.com.
And it's free.
Now for some stories around town you should know about. 100 new apartments will be built on the site of a shuttered motel in Mount Clemens, reports the Macomb Daily. Manchester Mount Clemens LLC will build a $20 million project at the old Victory Inn at North River Road in Gratiot. Demo starts this fall and work is expected to be done by 2027. A pair of notable demolitions in Detroit are on the horizon. Cranes Detroit reports that a building with ties to Detroit's old Chinatown at Cass and Peterborough in Midtown is being demolished. Owned by Olympia Development, there were no plans shared as to what's next. It steps away from a number of bustling retail spots and the recently sold Chung Space. And an old YMCA building on Detroit's east side is coming down. The Hannon Memorial YMCA on East Jefferson has been sitting empty and deteriorating for a couple decades. The city is looking to spend $2 million to demolish it, says Axios Detroit. If you want to see inside of this 1927 five-story spectacle, there are some photos from 2005 on nailhead.com. I've put a link in our newsletter that you can get at dailydetroit.substack.com. And finally, as I record this, 16 people have each been charged with 8 felonies related to an attempt by Donald Trump supporters to overturn the state's 2020 election results. The charges brought by Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel include forgery and conspiracy to commit forgery for falsely claiming to be Michigan's duly elected and qualified electors for president and vice president. Included in the bunch, all aged between their mid-50s and early 80s, Michon Maddock, a former co-chair of the Michigan Republican Party. Also, Kathy Burden, a member of the Republican National Committee, and Marion Sheridan, the state party's grassroots vice chair. But wait, there may be more. Another investigation in Michigan focuses on right-wing activists suspected of breaching voting machines in search of election fraud evidence. So stand by for possibly more developments. And we are done for today. Thank you so much for listening to Your Daily Detroit. Tomorrow, Norris Howard joins me in the co-chair seat to talk about all things in Metro Detroit. For now, I'm Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody, and I'll see you around Detroit.